Tonight on Here and Now, making sacrifices to survive and being forced to walk away from a dream job.
I was working at a bar doing serving shifts until 3 a.m. and then I was getting up in the morning and working with a little kid, and it just was exhausting.
A music therapist working 3 jobs to make ends meet. Her difficult decision to call it quits.
You see these giant grown men that sometimes just melt right in front of you.
If you want to keep your legion going, you gotta work at it.
A weekend of remembrance as legions across the province are struggling to stay afloat.
Coming together in the temple feels like being with one big family.
Hundreds come together to celebrate Diwali in St. John's.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis filling in for Carolyn Stokes. We have a slightly shorter 30-minute show tonight. That's due to the holiday. And now for our top story. There was a tragic end to the search for a missing hunter on the West Coast. The RCMP say a 67-year-old man from Hughesbrook was found dead over the weekend. It's believed the man was heading to a moose hunting area on his ATV after leaving his home last Sunday. Various groups were involved in the search, including the Bay of Islands Search and Rescue, as well as a helicopter. The public was asked to refrain from searching so that they wouldn't interfere with the work of police dogs. The RCMP have provided no other information about the man's death. Now to our new series, The Grind. It's all about competing with the rising cost of living. Tonight, reporter Sarah Antle introduces us to Kelly Arsenault. She's a music therapist by trade and a musician by choice. She had to put her dream job on hold just to pay the bills.
Up here, Kelsey Arsenault is at her best. Doing this since she was a kid. Serious about it too. She studied music at Memorial University. She always dreamed of doing it to help people.
So my dream was music therapy. Ever since I heard about it, I dearly love the concept of it. I'm fascinated by the way that music works for non-musical things like social interaction and creative expression. So I wanted to be a music therapist.
2 years ago, she moved to Ontario to combine her love of music with healthcare, becoming an accredited music therapist.
So I was actively working 2 part-time music therapy positions, one through Eastern Health and then another in private practice. And yeah, I had about 28 clients at one point.
Her plan made perfect sense, and it might have worked in a different economy. Instead, she wound up juggling 3 jobs.
You know, I was getting by, but then I needed to pick up a 3rd job really to supplement my income because I just couldn't make my rent, and you know, I had bills to pay. I had student loans from the degree I just got. So I got burnt out trying to do all 3 of these things at once. I was working at a bar doing serving shifts, and that was going on till 3 a.m. and then I was getting up in the morning and working with a little kid, and it just was exhausting.
Something had to give. She decided to drop her music therapy jobs, saying goodbye to 28 clients. She gave up the bar job too. Now, she works 9 to 5, an office job.
It came down to really needing to, you know, pay my bills, do what I had to do to survive. And it wasn't a matter of doing what I wanted to do, but just doing what I have to do for right now. You know, when you're starting a dream and you're going for it and you think that like, this is gonna be it, like, I'm gonna be a music therapist, I'm gonna start my own private practice, and then you like, get out in the real world and like, you're trying to buy a block of cheese and you're like, this is not happening.
But it is happening to more and more people. Like Arsenault, they're leaving fields they've trained in, working other jobs to pay off an education that they're never going to use.
We're seeing these trends across lots of jobs, right? Folks going to school for degrees or diplomas or whatever it is, and then coming out and not necessarily being able to find work in their area, or as you said, meaningful work, and then on top of that, that actually pays them a living wage. So this is a problem across sectors and across Canada in every province and territory.
For tonight, the burnout's behind her. Music may not pay the bills, but it's still part of her life. And for now, that's her therapy. Sarah Antle, CBC News, St. John's.
Hundreds gathered along Garrison Hill in downtown St. John's Saturday for an annual Remembrance Day ceremony. It's the first time in 99 years the ceremony did not take place at the National War Memorial, and that's due to major renovations at the Duckworth Street Memorial. Members of the military and local politicians were on hand as well to take in the speeches, prayers, and performances from the CLB Band. And across the province, Royal Canadian Legions are struggling to recruit and retain volunteers. Here and Now's Troy Turner met with one veteran in Grand Falls, Windsor, who says the work is just too important to give up.
It's been nearly 70 years since he last used this whistle for the Canadian Navy, but it's never far from the reach of Leslie White. These days, though, it's a reminder of his time serving in the Korean War. White said he didn't get to Korea during the war. Instead, he sailed around most of the globe. He came home in 1954. First stop, the Royal Canadian Legion.
The fellow that was serving the bar, well, he said, "I'm sorry, sir." He said, "I can't serve there." "Okay, you can't serve me in the Legion in uniform." I said, "That's impossible, man." "No, sir," he said. "I only work here, I don't make the rules." I said, "How much do it cost to join the Legion anyway?" He said, $3. I said, "Where do I get an application?" Paid me $3. I was a member. That's 70 years ago.
White is now a past president and an honorary life member of Branch 12. He's also the son of a First World War vet. His sister served in World War II, and his son was in the Canadian Forces. The Legion is dear to him.
Very important. If you want to keep your Legion going, you got to work at it. And don't make up excuses. "No, I can't do that. Got my shoulders bad, or my legs are bad, or me whatever." Don't do that. Just say yes or no. That's it. There's nobody want to hear old slob stories.
Legions are surviving, but it's not easy.
There are a number of people who have memberships in the Legion who don't participate in the events or don't volunteer as much time as they should.
Power says recruitment is a problem at Legions across the country.
It's a challenge to get people in through the doors of the Legions because there's a stigma there that you have to be a member of the Royal Canadian Legion in order to go to the Royal Canadian Legion, which is not true. We are a community-based organization. We're an organization of volunteers, and we're here to serve the community as well as our veterans and their widows.
There's no easy solution, but Power would love to see younger adults pick up the cause.
But the young people seem to have a different focus, or may be moving in a different direction than veterans. And perhaps they don't recognize the value of respecting our veterans who laid down their lives for the peace of the country.
While they maintain their focus on serving veterans, Royal Canadian Legions, such as the one here in Botwood, also have a focus on community. And Law Power says it's that buy-in from the public, as well as the retention of its existing members, that will ensure the Legion's viability into the future. Troy Turner, CBC News, Botwood.
And over the next few weeks, more than 100 veterans in the province will receive a warm thank you for their service. And it's not in the form of a certificate or a medal, but instead a handmade quilt. Lisa Compton, a retired military nurse, came by the CBC studios here in St. John's to show off some of the work and talk about their mission.
These are our quilts that have been donated here in Newfoundland and made by Newfoundlanders. And they are all going to, between now and Christmas for sure, because we have a wait list of about 130 right now, all these quilts will be presented to veterans here in the province. Quilts of Valour started in 2006, and it was started by a small group of ladies in Edmonton. Our founder is Leslie Zwall, and probably the thing that started it in Edmonton was, at that time, the battle group in Afghanistan was from Edmonton. So when the ill and injured return home, they go to a civilian hospital, and these ladies had quilts ready for the injured soldiers. They can become involved at so many different levels. We have an executive and a board like any nonprofit charitable organization. So you could be a quilter, or you don't necessarily have. We can pretty much find a use for everybody's talents. If anyone wants to be a quilter, they reach out to their local representative here in Newfoundland. I'm the rep for Newfoundland. And then we can connect you with other quilters in your area, or quilt guilds. There's a lot of different ways. We have sew days. If you want to help, we can figure out a way for you to help. You see these giant grown men that sometimes just melt right in front of you. Because it's different. It's not a certificate that everybody gets after so much service. It's personal. And you realize how much work goes into a quilt. And it could be a complete stranger made this to say thank you for your service. It's a good thing for me because I understand what a bad day is, and I can also look at them and say, you know, and when I bring my service dog with me, that's kind of a dead giveaway. And, you know, I said, nobody would have bet a penny on me. And so don't give up, keep working on it. And I didn't know if I was going to leave my own house, let alone go into somebody else's house and give them a quilt. But so I definitely, on a personal note, get way more out of it than what I could ever give. But it keeps me connected to veterans and to soldiers, and that's me. That's what it's about.
Diwali, or the Festival of Lights, is the biggest Hindu festival of the year. More than 250 people gathered at the St. John's Hindu Temple yesterday for celebrations that included skits, prayers, food, and dance. Take a look.
Diwali is by far the largest festival in India, and it transcends pretty much culture, religion, and whatnot in India, because where else you will see more than 1 billion people celebrating in the same country a festival that large.
It's inclusive of all cultures, any background, and any religion, really. And it celebrates, the victory of good over evil, and something that I think we should think about every day. It means coming here, sharing my culture, and remembering the stories from our past and our culture, and just kind of sharing the experience with everyone here. I've been coming to temple since I was born, so I've been involved in a lot of different celebrations, and I come to Diwali every year. And this year I happen to be the MC, and I'm also performing. It's a classical type of Indian dance called Bharatanatyam, and it's all about Lord Shiva and praising Lord Shiva, and it just kind of tells a story. My parents, they were born in India, they came here, so it's really important for me to be involved in the temple, just so I'm sort of connected back to my roots at home, and I am still involved with my culture, and I understand the significance of everything.
A lot of us left home about, some of them 50 years ago, some of them 25 years ago. I left 25 years ago to come here. And a lot of us don't have relatives here. And so coming together in the temple feels like, being with one big family. And doing all the elements of Diwali that we do in India, like the sweets, the food, and the cultural program, dance and songs, and then fireworks. All of those elements are involved with the Temple Diwali as well. So it gives a great feeling for the community in St. John's and around to get together on this great occasion.
And a tough start to the season continues for the Newfoundland Growlers. This after the team lost another series.
For the Railers, freed up, they score. That was fast. And the Railers with a great shot from Calder.
The home team came up on the wrong side of a 2-1 overtime game last night at the Mary Brown Centre. Now that lone goal was thanks to a recently re-signed local player, Zach O'Brien. The Growlers dominated in Friday's game against the Railers. That means the Growlers have 5 wins and 5 losses this season. They'll get a chance to lick their wounds this week before heading to Reading in Pennsylvania, where they will face off against the Royals on Friday. I'll be back with your weather forecast. That is just ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back to Here and Now. Time to talk about your weather with the weather on the way and your weather headlines. It's going to be a cloudy night across the province for the most part, with a chance of flurries for the Avalon, through central, parts of the west coast, and maybe Lab West as well. Chilly night too. It's going to be below freezing for most parts of the province tonight. Really starting to get chilly. Tomorrow we'll see a chance of flurries for some parts of the island and through Labrador as well, with sun some other places and a mix of sun and cloud. in others. But let's get right to that. Taking a look at today's highs. Chilly one for sure. The best place to be was on the west or the south coast with your temperature 2, 3, 4 degrees there, between 0 and 1 for the Avalon. 2, not too bad in Bonavista today, but below freezing through some parts of Central for Terra Nova and for Gander. In Labrador, for the most part, again, below freezing, except for Mary's Harbour, where it was 1 degrees, between 0 and -1 for coastal Labrador. And for Lab West and Churchill Falls here, -6, -8 degrees for you folks. Taking a look at our future tracker now, mostly cloudy skies is the story tonight. So as we head towards midnight, we'll see some increasing cloud for Labrador and for the west coast, with that cloud pushing into central Newfoundland here. When we're talking about our winds as we go to the overnight and the early morning, 20 to 40, 45 some places, including Mary's Harbour, and about 30 here along the north coast of the island. Less wind here for the south and southwest coasts. As we head towards tomorrow through the afternoon, we're going to see some of that cloud break up here in Labrador and cloud move across the island. Could see a flurry on the west coast. You could see a flurry for the northern Avalon and those kind of north-facing regions there as well. Taking a closer look at our temperatures for tonight now, pretty well below the freezing mark for everywhere. 0 for Corner Brook and Port aux Basques, where you could see some onshore flurries tonight. For St. John's, -5. We could see a flurry as well. A couple of degrees warmer through central Newfoundland. Flurries possible. Cloudy skies for Marystown at -1. And through Labrador, picking up some more cloud for Cartwright and partly cloudy skies in Nain. -6 for you folks. Could see a flurry or risk of freezing drizzle tonight for Happy Valley Goose Bay. And if you do see any freezing drizzle, that could cause black ice, so do take care. You could also see some freezing drizzle for Bonavista and through to Gander as well. -15 in Labrador City, Wabush area. Taking a closer look at tomorrow now. So we've got some sun and some cloud for the south-facing coasts here in the Burin and the southern Avalon at 1 degree. A degree cooler for St. John's and Bonavista, where we will see the sun, but you could see a flurry there as well. Worthy to note, our wind chill values, look at that, -11 in St. John's, and for Bonavista, -9. Moving a little further west now, between 0 and 1 for Central. Again, south coast, some sun through Central. The rest of it, you'll see possibly a flurry. -6 for Burgeo here as well with the wind chill. Between 2 for the southwest coast, up to 0 on the west coast here. Mix of sun and cloud, could see a flurry. As we head on up to the northern peninsula, temperatures dropping back to -1 and as cool as -2 in Lansalou. We're picking up some more sun as we head further north. Looking like a lovely day for coastal Labrador from Makkovik to Nain. -2 for you folks. A little bit more cloud through Happy Valley Goose Bay and Churchill Falls with a possible flurry, and cooler temperatures with more wind chill values to talk about there for you folks. Taking a look at our 5-day forecast now. For western Newfoundland, what we could see is some flurries Tuesday, bit of mix on Thursday and Saturday, things warming up to possibly 10 with a chance of showers on Saturday as well for central Newfoundland. And as we head on up through to western Labrador, we'll see some flurries Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And for eastern Labrador, it looks like we could see some flurries on Thursday and then a bit of a mix for you folks on Saturday. Taking a look at our weather photo now. Isn't that just gorgeous? Suspended snowflakes and a sweet little grey jay. If you have a weather photo, you can send it right here, nlphotos@cbc.ca. We'll be right back.
It's an opportunity for us to understand what it means to have a lifetime of sacrifice.
This is how Corner Brook marked Remembrance Day. Just ahead, we'll meet a military nurse from Springdale who was asked to take part in Ottawa's service at the National War Memorial. Welcome back to Here and Now. 11 military members were asked to stand at this year's Remembrance Day ceremony in Ottawa. Included in that group was a nursing officer from Springdale. Here's Captain Catherine Brett speaking about the significance of that invitation and the hometown hero whose memory she hopes to keep alive.
I'm very honored this year to have the opportunity to participate in the National Remembrance Day Century Program. This year is the 25th anniversary, and it has an expanded scope with additional participants. As myself, I am serving as the representation for nursing officers. Right now, even as we speak, there are thousands of Canadian nurses who are working and providing care to those who are ill and in need of care. So I'm very proud to be a member of this program, and I'm very proud to highlight the amazing contribution of nurses. So Remembrance Day is a very heavy day, and it's an opportunity for us to remember those who have served and those who continue to serve in our country. It's an opportunity for us to also connect, an opportunity to speak with those who have served in World War II and in World War I, the Korean War, and as well the recent Afghanistan conflict. And it's an opportunity for us to understand what it means to have a lifetime of sacrifice and contribution to your country. During those 2 minutes of silence, it's a very heavy moment, and someone that I'm going to be thinking about is someone from my hometown in Springdale. In my hometown, we have a street. It is named the Corporal Stephen Buzan Street. So Corporal Buzan died in 2007 in Afghanistan, and although I never had the opportunity to meet him, the fact that we're from the same small town really brings home what it means to make that ultimate sacrifice. I just want to say thank you to my family. Military families are the backbone to Canadian Armed Forces members. So I would like to thank my parents, Jerry and Linda Brett, and also my spouse, Glenn Tucker. They are truly the wind beneath my wings. I'm very proud, both as a nursing officer and as a Newfoundlander.
Well, that's Here and Now for tonight. Thank you for spending part of your evening with us. We return to our full-length 1-hour show tomorrow. Coming up next, an encore episode of Land and Sea. Good night.